Ahead of the 2027 general election, there has been a lot of political alignment and realignment. Recently, the leader of the Kwankwasiyya movement, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, hosted in his residence in Kano State some political bigwigs. Some of the political bigwigs he hosted in his residence include former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, former governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Rabiu Dixon, and the governor of Oyo State, Mr. Seyi Makinde.
A mammoth crowd of supporters thronged the residence of the Kwankwasiyya leader in Kano, chanting solidarity songs as they welcomed the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, former Bayelsa State Governor Rabiu Dixon, and former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi. Makinde and Dixon only greeted the crowd without speaking on the purpose of the visit. The Kwankwasiyya leader declined to speak on the purpose of their visit. Addressing the gathering, Peter Obi highlights the need for a united Nigeria, calling on leaders to prioritize national interest above personal or party considerations.
All we are saying, we want to build a united Nigeria where there will be security of life and property. We can have peace, invest in pulling people out of poverty. Kano is critical to that type of leadership.
Other leaders at the gathering also echoed similar sentiments, stressing the importance of collaboration in tackling Nigeria's socio-economic challenges.
It's time we come together to salvage the country. The country is at the brink, and we can't afford to let it fall. We have to come together and forget all our differences to ensure that we deliver this country.
With this development of titans or gigantic people, as we the youth, we are hoping to support them. We want changes because the country is not moving. And with the likes of Kwankwaso, Rabiu Dixon, Peter Obi, we want to balance the equation in terms of religion because Nigeria is not one single country in terms of religion.
While no formal political agreement was announced, the high-profile visit is widely seen as part of ongoing consultations among key political stakeholders ahead of the 2027 general elections.
Welcome back, guys. From all indication, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is set to decamp to African Democratic Congress, where he will become a running mate to Mr. Peter Obi ahead of the general election, 2027 general election. Now, there is also rumor that Seyi Makinde is also having a second thought whether to remain PDP or to decamp to African Democratic Congress. Now, we are going to watch a political editor, Mr. Somna Sambo, where we dissect the implication of this political alignment and realignment, and we'll be back shortly.
The narrative says, Kwankwaso is going to go to the ADC. Is it possible he's heading towards the NDC? Because the scenarios are not so clear. The only thing that is clear, in my view, is that there will be a lot of alignments and realignments, and I had given some permutations at the very beginning of this program. But you say he's heading for the ADC. How certain are you? And if he goes to the ADC, as you say, what chances will he have there? Perhaps he wants to go to NDC, where we hear that, President Jonathan may be part of the bargain. There's so much still in the air. But I would like to hear what you have heard and what you think.
This is Olusegun Obasanjo's desire. Actually, I've been speaking with lots of people, and they tell me that this is what looks like the last gift that Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria, thinks he can give to Nigeria's democratic process by seeing how he can bring some younger elements, quote, within the angle of Nigerian politics. When you say young, it means between 60 to 65 to 70. Seeing how you can bring them together to actually see how, they can, help the democratic process to be strengthened, and there will be a strong opposition, and then of course battling the governing party in 2027. Because the way things are going, most of them are not feeling happy that it may look like a one-way contest in 2027. And don't forget, sometime around December, there was a committee that was set up by Olusegun Obasanjo, who had brought some elements between then Labour Party leader Peter Obi, who's now in the ADC, and then Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. So that committee was set up in December. And Magaji Ibrahim, who happens to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, and the National Legal Advisor of the NNPP before this court judgment in the NNPP, had confirmed that meeting, and they had said that, look, they had been approached. He himself was a member of that committee, and they're already working towards that. So in the ADC, you look at the permutations that are ongoing now, with the South-South ADC already adopting Rotimi Amechi, and you see the article is already strong there. Can Obasanjo and all these people who are trying to mull an Obi-Kwankwaso ticket have their way in the ADC? Is there any way that they can, adopt the formula of a reconciliatory approach, where they can adopt the sort of system that Babangida used in the aborted Third Republic, where he brought about the issues of new breed politicians, asking older politicians to stay away, although that was a decree that excluded the people, the likes of Shehu Musa Yar'Adua and all of that, and then, Adamu Chiroma and all of that. Can this happen in the ADC? Now, if that will happen, then of course Atiku Abubakar will have to be a part of the process. Then, of course, people like Rotimi Amechi will have to be a part of the process. So, but, if you look at it, Obasanjo seems to be bringing back what he had tried in 2023, when he tried to, sometime around 2022, move around with Peter Obi across the north, using Professor Ango Abdullahi of the Northern Elders Forum to see how the north can be galvanized towards, seeing Obi, being given a ticket and then being supported by the North. That didn't happen. And when eventually Obi would then go ahead and get the Labour Party ticket, he still tried to see how Kwankwaso can join him. But Kwankwaso said no. He is a more experienced politician, a two-term governor, former two-term governor, former Minister of Defense. He had been a former Deputy Speaker. So he was more politically experienced than Peter Obi. But now, seeing that President Tinubu had himself wanted to get Kwankwaso, but some of the conditions that Kwankwaso put in place were not accepted, and this NNPP judgment had come in place. Wouldn't it be like, a golden opportunity for Kwankwaso to now go back to that initial arrangement? Well, these are the things that people are saying, and I've spoken to a few people in Kano last night, and including this morning, and they are saying that, look, Kwankwaso is beginning to be appealed to that decision, that desire, and so on, as long as the elders of the ADC are able to contain all other groups, and they're able to ensure that this system is perfected and it is battered in 2027. Now, as to the issues of the PDP, it is very clear that Governor Seyi Makinde doesn't want to be in the same political group with Nyesom Wike any longer. This is the same thing that Bala Mohammed has said, chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, that he doesn't see himself being in the same camp with Nyesom Wike because Nyesom Wike had betrayed the PDP, which made him who he is, including giving him the platform over the years to advance his political future. But look at it very well. These three persons are the people who have held on to this PDP for quite some time. And then party members are beginning to say, whatever happens, whether the PDP survives or not, these three persons will be held responsible in the future. You talked about the digital register. That digital register is going to be the albatross of the Wike-led PDP, or whether it is Seyi Makinde's PDP that eventually, succeeds. But with the way things are going and the way I've been able to speak with a few persons, it's either Seyi Makinde will be defecting to the ADC, or he will stay back, fight, and ensure that his candidate, who he wants to succeed him, move into that party, and they stay in the PDP and finally kill the PDP. Because the thinking is that if they cannot resurrect the PDP right now, then Nyesom Wike should not have the PDP in 2031 to be able to advance his political cause, because they already hear that he's going to use the PDP in 2031 to advance his cause. But if you were Nyesom Wike, what will you do? Because, for example, in 2023, the same Wike and Seyi Makinde were all on in the same camp, working together. So if you look at it from that angle, you will see that Nyesom Wike himself is somebody that cannot be pushed around. And with the political permutations that are ongoing at the moment, there's a likelihood that he will also not want the party to go to the Supreme Court fully. But then here they have gone, because Nyesom Wike also has other candidates, aspirants now for different political positions who want to contest, but the APC is not absorbing them. And then he feels that he has a structure in the PDP that can absorb them. So now it is not in his interest for PDP not to go into this election in 2027. Because where will he fix all these people? If you look at some of the congresses that have been conducted, most of his people have emerged and all of that. So he's also trying to look for a win-win situation to ensure that the party scales through, but will not be presenting a presidential candidate, but there will be governorship candidates, senatorial candidates, House of Rep candidates, and so on. But how that will work out is where the main challenge is, because with this new, promotion of the ADC that we are seeing yesterday in Kano, I can tell you that the body language seems to be that Governor Bala Mohammed and Seyi Makinde may send their proxies into the ADC while they wait in the PDP to battle it out and ensure that it's either the PDP goes to the elections now fully, or it's not available for anybody to use in 2031.
Welcome back, guys. Now, ahead of the primary election, the presidential primaries for African Democratic Congress, we have heard that there are two political bigwigs that are interested to flag the party's presidential ticket. Atiku Abubakar is on one side, then Mr. Peter Obi is on another side. Ahead of the primary election, we will know who the party will finally have as their flag bearer ahead of the presidential election. Please stay tuned to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe for more news updates, as we will be giving you latest developments ahead of the 2027 general election. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Bye for now.